Hello, my lovelies, and welcome back to Let's Play Night Road. I don't go here often because I tend to procrastinate for far too long and it's the middle of the night and I'm really tired, but today I was like, it's been a while since I played a video game. Therefore, we're gonna go pick up the parcel for NVIDIA Caul and take it to her research lab. Now, I am a bit worried about this because you can die in this game. You can like legitimately die, and I think that mission that we just did was like the easiest one. If we lose this character, I'm just gonna pass up like 70 pound coins. Just like $1 to get the Tremere DLC and just like redo the game as Tremere because like I like the clan, like the Usurper clan. but let's fingers crossed we don't kill off our gangrel because I like flirting with the man in the. I like flirting with the Eagle Guy Prince, even though he doesn't reciprocate my flirts and I can't see him all that often. You tuned to Nissan's radio to hear the news. This is Melpamine Chen, and you're listening to Mel at Midnight. Just like Deb at midnight, eh? Big news out of Phoenix, where St. Basil's Hospital director Chance Corelli has been arrested for her part in an opioid trafficking operation. As you know, listeners, St. Basil's has been a blister on the inner thigh of Phoenix for years, and as you also know, it's illegal to steal drugs from a hospital and sell them to criminals. We wish Director Corelli a long life behind bars for her terrible crimes. Will this change in leadership make things any better? I doubt it. Thanks for judging me, radio station. Thanks for judging me. But you know what? Camarilla all the way. The mortals can be damned. If you want a better hospital, you can just build a better hospital somewhere else. This is our safe place, okay? Sunrise at 6:53 a.m. We're in Tucson, Arizona. It's November 15th. The parking lot outside the Viper is a mess, even though it's too early for the party to really start. As you turn in, you have to slam on your brakes as a piss yellow Chevy Nosa SS roars past you and accelerates the wrong way down the West Alameda. Do I have to make the roll down the window gesture? A clear, slightly accented voice says. Do people still understand that, or is it anachronism? Prince Leto himself is standing outside, dressed in white and flanked by mortal flunky you remember from last time. He tries to say something, but a GMC Denali rumbles past and he has to wait. Finally he says, "You have 2 deliveries this time, Babylon." The other 2 options give us good insight. This option lets us flirt. Of course, flirt we do. Flirt we do. You look dashing this evening, Prince. I like the cowboy hat. Where's the Panama hat? Does the Panama hat automatically become a cowboy hat when it has a turquoise? Anyway, your response is drowned out by a Kawasaki bike that revs up and takes off. At least its rider goes its right way down the right street. This will help you if Dr. Caul is difficult, Prince Leto says, handing you a letter of introduction written on vellum in Latin. The laminated English copy is for the facility's human security. It basically says that no one should stop you from speaking with Dr. Caul. It's good to feel important, like the Camarilla trusts you. It also gives you a portable push-button lockbox that contains the actual message. What about the other delivery, you ask? Someone will find you on the road, Prince says. Look for a red Corolla. That's dangerous and complicated, but Prince Leto has already walked away to talk to another carrier. There are what, 5 in this parking lot? You don't recognize any either. Whoa, RuneScape music! Let's conflict a bit quieter, thank you. You don't recognize any either. Most of them must be Prince Lero's personal flunkies. What the hell is going on? You push it out of your mind, you know where you're going. Whatever finds you on the road will find you. You peel out. It's a 9-hour drive, and you research motels and abandoned buildings starting Albuquerque in case traffic or trouble leaves you stranded. Fortunately, traffic is light. You drive east in at the 10 and past the spot where you ditched your Honda CRX. Idly curious, you spend 20 minutes exploring the abandoned filing station, but the fight is long gone. Julian texts you as you're heading back into your car. She's going to turn you into a newt when she learns that Eagles cut her off. Before you can respond to another text, get her on our side, or try to recruit her scholars, scientists, etc. I need good people, and unlike some usurpers I could name, I don't spit acid at people when I lose my temper. Friggin' accusing Tremere now. Literally spit acid, by the way. An hour later, he texts, learn everything you can about the facility. Collect blood samples if possible. I hear she's captured a witch. I don't believe in witches, but check it out anyway.
I believe in vampires and undead people, but witches, oh, that's just going too far.
20 minutes later, a final text. I've ruined another of your phones. Drop it off in the bathroom, the next Shell station. Don't destroy the SIM card. There's a replacement under the sink. A few more minutes up the road, you spot the Shell station. You pull in and do the phone trick again. A few minutes later, you pass a garage marked with Julian's trumpet and make a mental note of its location. The hard copy map on your dashboard insists that you're going from one town to the next, but you don't see anything, just a road and distant lights. From the highway, even Albuquerque is just a blur of low buildings and exit ramps. Past Santa Fe, the landscape grows more lush with scrubby trees lining the highway and the distant hills dotted with green subtle hues visible to the sensitive eyes. The drive takes you through lots of towns named after bigger towns. The landscape grows rocky and pale cliffs rise behind the road. You stop at the last all-night gas station to fill your Nissan's tank, then you head into the wild and ungoogled landscape that stretches flat all the way to St. Louis for all you know. There's no radio out here, so you try to enjoy the sound of your engine because you don't want anything on your disposable phones. No trouble though, no tails, no weird unmarked cars, no circling eagles for now. You know, music coupled with the second delivery is just like getting me like slightly on the edge. Thanks, RuneScape. Thanks for highly appropriate high-stakes soundtrack right now. Researching NVIDIA Caul's has been difficult even with Julian's interest in recruiting her. NVIDIA like the card, NVIDIA like the card manufacturer, NVIDIA. I'm just gonna... First popped up in a major New York's chantry as the errand girl for a far more powerful member of Clan Tremere. Yeah, makes sense. That's how majority of them start. When the beckoning lured elders to the Middle East and the Second Inquisition destroyed Tremere's most important chantry in Vienna, she grabbed as many resources as she could and fled into the desert. Like plenty of scholarly kindred, Dr. Caul dreams of breeding animals with human quality blood. You're not sure if she's been successful, but you know that her facility, Kiowa Xenogenetics, has connections to biometrical firms all over the world. Too many connections, in fact. Those connections don't exactly represent a breach of the Masquerade, but the whole situation is too close to daylight for Prince Leto's liking. No wonder he's shutting her down. He's probably wiped KXG off the map if he could. She isn't going to like that, and vampires tend to shoot the messenger. Ah yes! That would be us! You're between towns, about an hour from the legal limits of Dr. Caul's territory when headlights appear behind you. They're coming up hard. Shadow growls dangerously in the passenger seat, but you're already on alert. Instinctively pull a hand on your duffel bag where you keep the data destined for Dr. Caul. The headlights blow past you, then the vehicle spins out, throwing up dust and grit. It skids to a halt 100 yards up the road, its headlights pointing out the big expanse of nothing that awaits outside every New Mexico highway. You slow down when you see the red Corolla, or to be more precise, the maroon Toyota IE86. This is the car Leto mentioned. The little hatchback looks to be in good shape. What was it, 85, 86? It's an important regular left-hand drive. You slam on the brakes and swerve as the figure stumbles onto the road. You manage to control your spin and end up parked on the side of the road. You back up so that you're next to Corolla. Carlos is leaning against his passenger door, looking ashen and clutching his stomach. I haven't seen him since your first visit to the Tuscan Elysium. Leto's servant Alexander said Carlos was a cop. That's a good thing for a vampire to keep on the payroll, though this guy doesn't look like a cop now, he looks like roadkill. Takes Carlos a moment to focus on you. He says something, but you can't hear him over the pounding beats of Current Craft 400. Turn that down, you shout. He nods vaguely and crawls back into his car to turn the music down, leaving the smear of blood on the door handle. Oh no. Poor Carlos is dying in here. That's not good. Also, I like all the car details that I absolutely can't relate to because I'm just really not a car person. So thank you for all the car descriptions, but I mean... This is also a really weird thing to say, right? Because if I wasn't a people person, I could still do people descriptions and be fine with them, but I'm not a car person, so I don't know why I am really not fine with all of these car descriptions because I really don't care. Would that be the same way about people descriptions if you're not a people person? Am I even a people person? Ah, music of RuneScape has finally quietened down so we can get it back to volume, thank you. Babylon? Prince Leto actually sent you? The fucking Outlander? You have something for me, you ask. You glance back toward the road, but it's quiet. Just a few cars drifting past and none of them can see you or the IE86. Carlos holds up a ruggedized plastic Pelican case in matte black like you used to transport a pistol or really good optical camera. Leto wants this delivered to a waiting plane. Where? He turns the case around and addressing the key art on the other side, blood has stained the tape. You consult your mental map on New Mexico. That's 2 hours south, and you're not going south. And it needs to be there by 6 a.m. The plane can't wait any longer than that. Shake your head. The 6 a.m. delivery gives you no time to get undercover. Calm the fuck down, Carlos says. There's a whole bunch of trailers just up the road from where you're going. The key's right here. He holds up the case again. Just do the job. Fuck me. Okay, it's gonna be a tight squeeze with the sunrises, eh? Yeah, you know what, I'm a nice person, and if we were given a permission to have a ghoul, so if we are gonna need to ghoul him, then we're gonna ghoul him. Are you okay? I don't want this guy dying on me. I might even try to stop that from happening. You wanna kiss me and make it better? Carlos snaps. I'm fucking fine. Still got some of the dove's vitae in me. Vitae? Vitae! Oh, Jesus Christ. I can't pronounce vitae. Okay, and I just gave 3 pronunciations of the same word. That's nice. Say blood. Say blood like normal people. Blood. It runs off your tongue because it has many O's. He concentrates, sweat pouring from his face. After a moment, he's breathing more easily, though his skin is still ashen. Deliver this parcel, he says, throwing it through his driver's side window and onto your lap. or Prince Leto will make Riga peck your eyes out while I watch. Don't let the Inquisition get it, or the Anarchs. Anarchs, you say? Carlos restarts his IE-86 and roars on out of there, blasting your Nissan with dust and grit. You pocket the key and check the address one more time. 2 hours. This isn't a Scottian Star Trek program. By all known laws of physics, getting there in time is entirely possible, but it's cops all over the road problem. You can't afford to get pulled over doing 95 down some New Mexico highway. You check your maps and consider the possibilities. A busier road would let you weave through traffic and stay hidden, though you would have to pay attention to avoid police cruisers. There's also a less busy route where you could just trust to raw speed and determination to get you where you need to go. Are those the only 2 routes? You might be able to find another way using your maps if you study them, but that might take the time you don't have. Okay, we need to figure out if we have a brain. Literally, our biggest skills are all in brain, so I think we should actually study alternative routes. You unfurl your maps and look for roads the police are likely to overlook, reading quickly by the glow of your dome light because you cannot waste more than a few minutes. Then, confident that you found the perfect frontage road along which you can accelerate to your heart's content, you set out. Brains, don't fail me! I don't know how we ended up being a smart gangrel, but we ended up being a smart gangrel, and I'm gonna use that to our advantage. After just a few minutes, you spot a car following you. You dodge around a slow-moving Mercedes and try to get a good look at it. It's a black Camaro, specifically an 1987 IRZ Z. I hope I don't need to remember all of this. Camaros were cheap muscle cars in your youth. You loved off metalheads and horsepower geeks, but as you try to get a better view of this one, it slips away around the van and suddenly it's gone. Camaro shouldn't be able to move like that. You slow down for a moment and remember that you have places to be. You speed back up, still scanning for a Camaro, but it doesn't return. The highway is clear and dark, other cars are almost non-existent, and nothing touches you for the 1 hour and 45 minutes it takes you to reach the turnoff. That went perfectly. You brake only slightly as you take the exit, then you accelerate and race for your target, the Pelican case clattering underneath the passenger seat next to your duffel bag. You brake hard enough that Shadow yelps in surprise when the asphalt suddenly vanishes beneath your wheels, leaving you on a dirt path illuminated by starlight. You weren't exactly expecting a whole secret airport, but there's barely even an airship ahead of you, just a patch of hard-packed earth surrounded by jagged rocks in one direction and infinite-seeming expanse of yellow sedge in the other. You're early, you can tell because you hear a buzzing whine overhead. You lean out the window and spot a small twin-engine light aircraft coming in for a landing. It should arrive in a minute or so. You roll your Nissan into position so you can hand off the parcel as quickly as possible. You're feeling entirely confident until the floodlights hit you. Not good. A half-dozen black Brook Avenires are now visible not far from your position. One SUV has a light strip on its roof which illuminates the airplane and catches your Nissan at the edge of its light. The FBI's Special Affairs Division is here. You're just getting ready to roll backward when shots ring out. You duck, but they're not shooting at you. 3 wolves rush the SUV closest to the tall grass. One piece smashes right through the passenger window. A moment later, blood sprays all over the inside of the windshield. It takes you a moment to recognize them as kindred and probably anarchs. Well, at least it's not werewolves. As the wolf gangrel swarm out of the devastated SUV, more appear from the darkness and rush the Inquisition on ATVs. Armed with old rifles or cheap submachine guns, they open fire with wild abandon, laughing even when they get hit. Once a gunshot and fall to the kindred. The ATVs throw up a cloud of dust that obscures the battle. You're not sure what the anarchs are doing here, but as the battle erupts, you have a clear path to the airplane. The pilot is visible now, illuminated by the open side door. Just before you can roll forward, a dark blue 1963, really don't care by the way, Ford Fairline roars past you, heading for the plane. Its driver is visible only for a moment in silhouette. You catch a glimpse of French braid and heavy, hulking physique, but the federal agents with guns remain visible in the glow of the floodlight. and you spot 2 FBI engines heading your way on foot, assaulting rifles ready, but Shadow bends out of your truck's passenger window and sprints for them. You don't have time to get a shot before your Lobo drags one shrieking into the tall grass, so that's one problem solved. The airplane rolls forward, getting ready to take off, but the side door remains open. You can throw the parcel in if you can just get close enough. Dust from the ATV swirls around the runway, so it's a race then. You need to get this parcel to the airplane before the FBI's engines shoot the pilot to shreds. And you're doing it while Gangrel Anarchs rip into the FBI. You gun the engine. Even as you start to move, you analyze the field ahead of you. The ranging battle to your right isn't actually your problem. Whoever wins, Anarchs are the second in position. They won't be able to interfere before the plane takes off. The twin engine is moving faster now. It's running lights and the glowing rounded rectangle of its open door barely visible through the swirling dust. With the fare lane in the way, there's no clear path, but you can just accelerate hard and get close enough to throw the parcel. The path ahead is rough, dangerously rough at one point, where there's a large bump in the road and you hesitate to get over, even in an old Ford. Okay, help me, Daddy, I'm scared. Why did you have to stalemate like this? Ah! Come on, Ego Guy, you don't have to be so mean to the new Gangrel girl that's trying to flirt with you at every turn. Okay. We have stupid amount of intelligent wits and resolve, but not much anything else. Drive is a 2. Academics, awareness, investigation, technology is kinda okay. Animalism is good, but that's not gonna help. Protein is okay. I don't actually know what to do in this situation. I feel like we would be relying on low strength, on raw strength, dexterity, and stamina, which is definitely not a strong suit. Finding a way to accelerate wouldn't be a bad idea, but I'm also steering into the dust cloud. Our car's strength isn't speed, it's armor, effectively. So I steer into the dust cloud. The clever and deceptive maneuver will confound Fairline's driver and let me get ahead of her. You wear right toward the Fairline, so bullets zip around your Nissan, then yank the wheel and disappear into the swirling dust. Totally blind, you steer for a fast accelerating airplane. After a few harrowing seconds, you bust out of the dust right on target. The Fairline is behind you and out of position, its agents shooting wildly as you accelerate, so you're alongside the prop plane line. Prop plane! What the heck is a prop plane line, mate? You grab the Pelican case and fling it through the door. The airplane lifts off, you spin the Nissan around, blasting gravel, and get off the strip, driving right through the yellow sedge with your lights off as the Anarch FBI battle rages behind you. But no one follows you, and after a few minutes you slow down. Oh!
Okay, let's continue leaning into that brain case, for we have no strength.
We're a Gangrel with okay protein, but no protein. Protein, yes. We're a gangrel with a good protein shake, but no strength, you know. Thought it might be an important thing to mention, yeah. You pick Shadow up a few minutes down the road. They're covered in blood like a newborn pup, but they seem happy. Another mission accomplished. You head for the mobile home community where you're supposed to have shelter for the day. You're inside an old Airstream with 15 minutes to spare. You spend it filing the bathtub for Shadow. Okay, the next evening you send your Lobo out to see if anyone followed you here. Nothing. You did it! You remind yourself that Lito owes you another grand and get back on the road toward Kyoba Xenogenetics. You pass an old mining village abandoned since the cowboy times and stop to mark its location on the map. A few buildings might offer you cover from the sun if things go badly. There are no signs that the fence looks just like all the others, but you know you're close when the road gets better. When you spot the headlight in the distance, you instinctively kill your Nissan's lights and pull over. Two Kawasaki ATVs rumble down a side road. Men with rifles and helmets ride the ATVs. They look like border patrol, but you know that they're private security. Good ones too, if those bolt-action bad rock rifles are anything to go by. Those are guns for people who don't miss. One shot would drop a buffalo or a vampire. You're just wondering if you should introduce yourself since you have all your paperwork in order when the guards take off, followed by a low-flying quadcopter drone. Another mile down the road, you spot the sheep. They look like regular sheep, except they wear tracking collars and they have 4-digit numbers painted on one flank. This must be Dr. Caul's xenogenetic specimens. You remember Julian's text. He would like a sample. Been courteous so far, but you haven't really impressed him. Maybe this is an opportunity. You're not sure you want to sink your fangs into one of the xeno sheep. If there are other animals about, now might be a good time to hunt. Yeah, my hunger's at 2. I should actually feed. But also, blood for Julian. It's not a big deal for us. Just as you signal Shadow to hop out of the truck and stretch their legs, the xenogenetic sheep hurry away into the underbush. You check the eastern sky. Oh, this is very fitting music right now because it's kind of quirky and we're chasing sheep. You made good time and you still have a few hours before dawn, but there's a lot of territory out here. You need a plan. You check your sword because while you have a blood and tissue kit, you also need a sharp blade to bring down a sheep. Yeah, I'll probably buy and play it. I find it to be a good game. I mean, nobody's appreciating the fact that I'm playing it pretty much. But I'm appreciating the game, and that is all that matters. It's just not very flashy. I feel like if they made it more flashy, more people could appreciate it. But, you know, that's just me. Yeah, I'll use Shadow help with animalism to take down the sheep because I feel like out of all these options, this is like the only thing we're actually good at. Scratch Shadow's ears, the Lobo is ready. Let's try and sniff out the sheep when the wind changes. Sheep never has a chance. You and Shadow dart out of the shadows, your sword flashes and the animal falls with its throat torn open. Ignoring the temptation of the pumping blood, you position the vial under the fatal wound and wait until you have 100 millimeters. You'll hand it over to Julian once you're back in Tuscan. We didn't need to kill the sheep, nor did we need to waste the blood. Come on, we could have drugged that. Dr. Caul's facility consists of several structures. You see a long, low building of green glass and white concrete trailers for the long-term personnel and parking lot. Hello, Daddy! Nice, really late night to you too. There's also a little outdoor coffee shop with a patio. Behind the main building is a refurbished ranch, a garage for the ATVs, and A landing strip for light aircraft. A high chain link fence dotted with security cameras surrounds most of the facility. Quadcopter drones drift overhead as you stop at the main gate. The woman guarding the yellow gate takes one look at your laminated introductory letter and immediately buzzes you through. You go on ahead to the intersection, she says, and turn right. There's a trailer waiting for you, number 23. The trailer's clean and blandly furnished except for the thick maroon drapes, which looks like they were borrowed from a castle. They completely blot out the sun, though it still feels safer to sleep in the made-up storage space under the table than on a bed. Shadow takes the bed anyway. Dr. Caul knows you're here, but you don't have time to worry just yet. The moment the sun crosses the horizon, you are asleep. Daylight savings time. Yeah, ours changes in like two weeks. Yeah. And I'm fairly okay. I always have my own ups and downs and tiny little anger spouts and times when I doubt myself and times when I don't. You know, it's life. Life is life. Na 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 na. Your first thought when you rise is that you're not going to let you through security with your sword. Even your fancy laminated letter won't let you walk through round armed. Once you're dressed and cleaned up, you leave Shadow and check out security. It isn't as scary as the ATV patrols. It's just one guy with a holstered pistol next to a metal detector. He's watching his laptop in a big atrium with shiny fat marble walls and lots of glass. It's probably busy during the day, but right now it's quiet, though not deserted. Outside the main faculty is a detached facility. Attached security office and a little cafe. There's a gap between them where the fence doesn't cover, so there are cameras everywhere in that direction. You consider what to do. I know what we could do. I could tie the sword to my dog. I mean, wolf, dog, animal. Yeah, I'm gonna leave my sword, but I'm not happy about it. I put everything in my truck for a faster getaway. Drop your knockoff Panerai and other metal countermeasures into the waiting plastic bin and pass through the metal detector without incident. The guard barely looks up. You enter a circular room illuminated by a giant red hologram of a hemoglobin molecule. Tasty. It's labeled THG Kiowa Genetics. Genetics? Yes! Words! A party's in full swing. 20 scientists and technicians are chatting, drinking wine from fancy glasses, or gathered around the baby grand piano where a man in a tweed jacket is playing ragtime. A whiteboard reads, "Congratulations, Dr. Takahashi, on your," and then a complex formula. You spot a few equations you recognize from the academic studies, but whatever Dr. Takahashi discovered is beyond your immediate grasp. Ah, she's pretty! You must be the carrier, young woman says. My name is Vani Anand. Dr. Caul will be here in a few minutes. Until then, help yourself to some wine. And I apologize beforehand if anyone badgers you. We're trapped in here for months at a time, like Antarctic researchers and anyone new is interested. Vani isn't really dressed for a party. She's wearing a loose-fitting work shirt full of pens and notebooks, though she put on gold earrings that sometimes gleam red in the holographic light. Before you can chat, Vani gets a text and excuses herself, leaving you to the edge of the party. You scanned the crowd, contemplated how to make a good first impression with these people. Dr. Caul will react badly to the information you're carrying, and you don't want your behavior here to make her mood even worse. I kinda would like to feed, honestly, game. I would kinda like to feed. I wasted my animal feeding opportunity, baha. I know that you can die in this game, so I'm mentally prepared for the other 2 chapters being a lot harder than the first one that I played through. I am so happy that I survived delivering the friggin' item to the plane, though. I was like, well, rip, I hope I don't rip. Any weird sorcery in display, I'm always interested in the weird stuff. The weirdest stuff is that hologram. You're not sure how it's being generated. A masquerade violation or just weird tech? You're not sure. Most of the scientists look well off and well fed. There's an old money smell to a lot of them, from the WASP doctors listening to ragtime on the piano to the comfortable looking computer scientists. Most of them immigrants from India and Pakistan. Everybody seems pleased with themselves and a little bored. Everyone except one red-haired woman skulks in the shadows. This is a bit loud again, RuneScape. So sometimes you're really quiet and sometimes you're really loud. Though a lot of the times you're very appropriate with the soundtrack, which is really weird, because this game was definitely not written to a RuneScape soundtrack. Pale and sullen looking, she has the wan look of a blood doll, but her blue eyes are hard and wild as trapped wolves. She wears long moss green cardigan that she keeps pulling down over her wrists and silver rings with occult symbols. You can only read part of her shirt under the cardigan. Act Tech. Ace Tradit. Latin? The Tremere are a bunch of creepy warlocks, but they normally hide better than this. No wonder Prince Leto wants this place shut down. You consider whom to approach and what you want. Potential allies for you and Julian to uncover the secrets of this place, perhaps to increase your own power. Maybe you should just try to put Dr. Caul in a good mood for the inevitable meeting. A bit of an issue with the sentence of the Tremere are a bunch of creepy warlocks, but they normally hide better than this. Yeah, I know! It's like reject technology, embrace tradition on a t-shirt is apparently Masquerade violation. I have questions. Considering that I'm human, am I a walking Masquerade violation game? You know what? My brain is my good side. I don't think I have much knowledge of the occult on this character. I'm going to canvas for information, use my investigative skills to learn what Dr. Caul is up to. Should be easy if I focus purely on facts. A good investigator knows how to read people and how to read the environment. More importantly, she knows how to wait, watch, and listen. You circle the party, listening to the conversation, studying the clothing and equipment of the scientists. A picture slowly emerges. KXG has indeed made some important breakthroughs, but Dr. Caul seems increasingly frustrated. You spot one scientist with marks on her hands. Are those chilblains? How do you risk frostbite in New Mexico? A scientist mentioned something called the Snow Room, which piques your interest. You approach a dapper young Pakistani computer scientist and get him talking. He tells you that the Snow Room is only a room or Dr. Caul's secret project. He insists that the xenosheep are just front for something far more ambitious and hence a failed cloning and grafting experiments, old technology flown in from Europe and more sinister practices. When he glances down at his empty wine glass, he seems to realize he said too much and hurries away, but you're starting to understand the shape of Dr. Caul's operation here. "Hello, Babylon," a cool and professional voice says. "Nothing about my voice is cool or professional, so pretend!" Dr. Caul sounds like she's the voice of a computer assistant. She's dressed for a celebration in a long red and black dress. It takes your eyes a moment to resolve the serpents and wolves that form the design. She holds out her black gloved hand for you to shake, or kiss, you decide to shake. "I have heard so much about you," she says. Her face is dark, her hair jet black and worn in a flapper bob. "Ah, 1920s, I see." Oh god, actually, yeah, that's a thought. That's a thought and a half. If you died as a man, beard fashions might actually be quite problematic. But if you died as a woman, die in medieval ages and Victorian times, and for the most part, you're stuck with like normal looking long hair, right? Die in friggin' 1920s and you're just stuck in 1920s. You're not gonna shake that look. It's like, it's a permanent thing. It's a permanent thing unless you decide to wear wigs. Her features are animated and friendly in contrast to her flat and chillingly hypnotic voice. Dr. Caul glances around at the party and says, "I'll be back in a few minutes to enjoy the party, everyone. Ta for now." She gives an elegant little wave, then gestures for you to follow the way she might order a dog around. "Everyone in the spill zone knows what we are," she says, pointing to a sign that resembles hands spilling something out of a bowl. She ushers you through another silent sliding door into a stark minimalist chamber with hexagonal white floor tiles and cool white walls. Artifacts of sorcery are visible behind frosted glass or in the clutches atop hard plastic pedestals. You see a mummy fragments and incunabula, fragmentary scrolls and broken amulets. There's a diagram of the California Stonehenge they found a few years back. You heard of that, since kindred say it was some kind of spiritual site. The far side of the room contains a Louis XIV escritoire, a shaker table with a phonograph, an apparatus for reading wax cylinders, and a microfilm reader. Dr. Caul scans the Latin document Prince Leto prepared for her and tosses it on the end table. Vanny, her assistant, places it carefully on a coffee table so her mistress won't lose it. Two studious-looking and handsome young men lounge at the couches nearby, reading books in a language you can't identify. "You're hungry, Babylon," Dr. Caul says, "and I don't like hungry kindred wandering around my domain. Please enjoy Rini, or Sonam. Rini is a doctoral student in robotics, and Sonam is an occultist from London by the way of a small village in Bhutan. In a year I will choose one of them. Until then, they provide what sustenance and diversion they can." Three more scholars sit around a nearby table, and Vanny is there as well, typing something on a laptop, and apparently they're off limits. I'm gonna taste the occultist, but creepy vibes to the max here. Creepy vibes to the max. Maybe I'm just not using my imagination that much, but can't imagine how stressful that kind of life must be. Do they know? They surely know. But I mean, you're serving a friggin' vampire as a blood bag, and you might get chosen for eternity of hard labor. I mean, at least most gangrel victims are hit and runs. Let's taste the occultist. You take your time with Sonnen as Dr. Caul prepares the microfilm, discreetly looking away as you feed. Let Prince Leto tell you what news I should expect, she says, because I already know what happened to Jasper Knowles. He was a friend and a colleague, but I had to sever ties with him when I learned he was experimenting on Kindred. We almost drew our line in the sand somewhere, still I will miss him. Dr. Caul strips off her black gloves, revealing long black nails and a garment ring. Vanny hands her a lab coat. You think quickly as the Tremere twists the knobs of the microflinch reader and starts reading the first page of Prince Leto's document. Rescinding her authority to operate this facility, should probably say something to soften the blow. I love her nails! I really do. And she's so pretty. She looks so alive. Or should you use this moment of vulnerability to extract more information about the snow room? What is it, Doctor? Rennie asks. He and Sonam approach the reader, Sonam leaning on Rennie. A few other scholars wander in, talking quietly among themselves about occult or scientific matters, but they keep a cautious distance from Dr. Caul. Only Vanny is willing to get close. Yeah, it's absolutely beautiful. I just feel like what they need to do is, if they're gonna be making a second game ever, because I mean it's popular enough for them to make expansions, is to actually get her to illustrate every single page. At that point, we will nearly be at a visual novel, really. Maybe some button graphics. Button graphics are not like the hardest thing. This is just like almost Unity preset buttons right now. Politics are not like super my thing. Well, actually, politics are super not my thing, but Vampire the Masquerade is super my thing. Okay, let's try and soften the blow. We don't want an old vampire blowing out on us. I need to take charge and lead her slowly toward the revelation about what's on the microflinch so that she doesn't explode into rage around her blood dolls. You deserve to know the truth, you say. It's bad news. Oh no, Dr. Caul whispers. Prince Leto wants to stop your research, you say, speaking quickly, even as Tremere scans the document. But I'm sure there's something we can do to stop that. Not much stops the Prince of the Camarilla, Dr. Caul says, her voice full of rage and despair as she scans the letter. She's angry, but you managed to get out ahead of the problem, and she's not ready to unleash her beast just yet. A good leader knows when to ask for advice, so you start to ask her to list her options. Tremere are happy when they're making lists. Oh god! The Tremere are very happy when they're making lists! What's wrong with us? That's when Renee puts his hand on Dr. Caul's shoulder and says, "It's going to be okay, NVIDIA." Her eyes turn black. Okay? You think this is okay? She stands up and slaps Renee, knocking that much larger man to the tiled floor. Well, she could have done so much worse. Still, you think you might be able to calm her down. You consider your words carefully, trying to figure what to say. Calm down, Sonan yells. That wasn't what to say. Dr. Caul grabs Sonan's skull. Blood runs from beneath her fingernails. Alchemically transformed, it smokes and fulminates like acid. Sonan can't even scream as a flesh drips off his skull. Oh, Jesus Christ. The other cultists scream in horror and drop their books, running for the exits. But when the corrosive stream rising from Sonan's corpse reaches the ceiling, the facility's fire detectors go off and the massive security door starts to close. Nice splitting alarm goes off. Dr. Caul turns, both hands dripping with corrosive acid that blackens the tiled floor. You throw yourself behind the couch as Dr. Caul lashes out with her corrosive blood. The chair next to you dissolves, throwing the fumes of noxious gas. Your beast screams inside your brain as if it were surrounded by flames. Your iron will allows you to master your fear, but you still don't dare approach her to attack, not with so much unnatural acid dripping from her fingers. How could he? Dr. Caul screams, her blood scrunched up in a fury. I've done everything for him! She turns and waves. A corrosive blood blackens the microfilm treater, filling the room with the stink of burning plastic. Her garnet ring flashes with thaumaturgic power. How good are we at dodging and acrobatics? We're shit. We're shit at it, so that's not an option. Intelligence, wits, resolve. Intelligent, wits, resolve. Intelligent, wits, resolve. Hunger 1, no wounds. We can... It's actually really good, Jade. I really like it. I am quite afraid that I'm gonna get myself killed though. And I think I'm gonna play a bit of a hero in here because I'm just not good at combat situations. Yeah, I know, right? But I'm just smart. But let's allow her to hit us. We have her full health right now. And that will save some of the people. Reach the door and struggle to hold it open. Everyone out, you cry, but the occultists are afraid and confused. Fami runs for it, but the others hesitate for too long. The blast of acid consumes the occultist and dissolves the flesh on your back. You scream and drop the door, falling to your knees. Your blood burns, but the unnatural resilience saves you from the acid. So, Vanny asks Caul, a half hour later in her private office, what are we going to do? She's on Caul's desk, sitting on her hands to prevent them from shaking. You're impressed by her courage in the face of what just happened. Return to the party, the Tremere says. She strips out her sooty dress with a brusque efficiency of someone unconcerned with the material things, wipes herself down with a sponge and lets Vanny hand her a slip, followed by a red and black kimono. But first, Babylon, I need to deal with you, Caul says. You will remain at Kyoba's Xenogenetics until I have composed a response to Prince Leto. Don't speak. She holds up her hand, the garnet ring flashes dangerously. And don't worry, my response won't be a bomb I ask you to carry back, but I need time to find a way to accommodate Prince Leto's orders. Until then, you stay. Vanny, show her her room. How bad did we're actually uninjured. How are we uninjured? Oh, I mean, we're a bit hungry. I feel so bad that like 4 people melted. 4 out of 5. I am not amazing at reading. Oh, now you're making me worried. Your things minus your sword, but including your trusty Lobo. At first I looked at that and I was like, Rusty Lobo, Rusty Lobo! Arrive in your room a few minutes after you do. It's a large, well-appointed, windowless chamber that feels like a prison cell despite the comfortable furnishings. Vanny hands you a keycard. You're not a prisoner, she says, but please don't get into any trouble. She disappears back down the hall. It looks like you're going to be here for a few nights while Dr. Caul crafts a response to Prince Leto. On the first night, you acquire a map of the facility intended for new hires and note interesting areas. Incinerator, organic slurry processing chambers 1 to 4, Jesus Christ, main security, but large sections of the map are blank. You have to explore on your own to get a feel for this place.
Is this like Silent Hill where I fill in the map as I go?
You know what, we have scientific education, we can figure out what the snow room is about. You head into the spill zone to chat with the scientists who might know more about exactly what Dr. Caul is up to. You can't charm these people, but you might be able to convince them that you know what you're talking about and get them to drop some hints. You quickly impress the medical scientists, technicians, and fringe theorists who make up Dr. Caul's secret research team. Though they're careful not to reveal anything that will get them into trouble, you slowly tease out the truth about the snow room. It's some kind of cloning facility. Illicit cloning is a common enough subject among biomedical researchers. Words! Things! But from the scientists' confused descriptions, it's clear that whatever Dr. Caul and Gazelle are up to, it's hardly science as we understand it. How good are we on hacking? I mean, we're at max technology. We can do this. I hack into the computer network to learn more about the snow room. There's plenty of weird tech at Kiova's Xenogenetics, but the computers are simple Linux boxes. The wireless is password protected, so you poke around online until you learn that some of the outside the spill zone researchers are using old chat systems to gossip with their peers in related fields. You download an IRC program and snoop around a few channels, posing as an IT security consultant and answering all their questions correctly. Soon most of the people in the chat sort of forget you're there. There's a flurry of speculation about Chinese genetic research, artificial meat, and related subjects. Using your knowledge of computer science and how it intersects with KXG's research, you carefully nudge the subject back toward their own Black Ops. You listen carefully as the KHG folks talk about their daily rounds, including one guy who's pretty sure is describing the outside of the snow room. Then you grab your paper map of the facility and load up the stopwatch program. This one idiot is happily outlining the computers he moves between. You cross the 3 potential locations for the snow room. This leaves only one, it has to be there. Get out of the chat and leave your room. You soon find yourself standing in front of the huge hangar-like door that leads to what can only be the snow room. You spend a few minutes recording every scrap of information you can, from the model numbers of the HVAC equipment to the brands of the biomedical waste you find in the plastic trash bin outside to the occult runes carved onto the floor and ceiling. Now how the hell can you get inside with 5 clusters of cameras always pointed at the door and armed guards stationed at the intersections? You're forced to retreat as a guard patrol appears, but you have everything you need except the door code. You spend the rest of the night running searches based on the information you've gathered as you scan Google Scholar, VS Tor, and parts of the darknet to cater to the intersection of criminality and the occult. Why don't we have those parts of the darknet? You start to piece together what Dr. Caul is doing. Cloned cell samples, modified vitae, xenogenics, cryogenic preservation, necromancy. She's making clones, not human or animal clones, not living clones at all. With vitae and thaumaturgy and whatever kind of magic the witch of hers can work, Dr. Caul is cloning dead tissue. He's cloning vampires! That ain't good. Thanks, RuneScape music. That's very ominous of you. Next night, someone knocks on your door moments after the sun sets. Giselle is standing in the doorway. She looks pale and ragged, and her long green cardigan is dark with blood, where she clings to her wrists. She looks like she's been crying. Dr. Caul wants to see you, she says. Clean yourself up. You have 10 minutes. From the tone of her voice, you suspect this might be your final night at Kyowa Xenogenetics. You grab everything you have, including your duffel bag, and check your exits in case you have to move fast. You know you've been closely watched for several nights and that the security staff is ready in case you try to take a run for it. The only good news is that Giselle looks terrible. Why is that good news? You follow the witch into the spill zone. You're led not to her office, but deeper into the facility until you reach the huge steel hangar-like door of the snow room. You permit yourself a self-satisfied smile. Your investigations have already revealed as much as anyone could learn about this place without actually going inside. You know it looks like you're going inside. This is the snow room, Giselle says, her voice tired. She glances at you out of the corner of her eye, but you just shrug as you have no idea what it is. It's where Dr. Caul and I conduct our research into how to mimic and emulate vampiric flesh. This looks like one giant-ass trap, you know? It does. Well, are you happy with your work, Giselle? I help a great philosopher, Giselle says. I love her. It's like her words are being yanked out of her mouth. The door opens silently, despite its size, and a blast of cold air hits you. Cold can't hurt you unless you freeze solid. You're still close enough to life that you find the sensation viscerally unpleasant. Giselle, her normally haughty demeanor gone, shrinks away from the cold air. When the door closes again, she's on the other side of it. So is Shadow. Not sure exactly where to go, you pass through a cold room full of brushed steel tanks attached to thick tubes, electrical cables, and laptops propped open on folding metal desks. Peace! We have peace on the radio! The next room resembles a meat locker, except the carcasses hung from the iron chains aren't cows or pigs, and neat grids decorate the walls and floor. You used what you already know about the snow room to help you memorize everything you see. Everything you remember here is worth more than gold to Julian. Dr. Caul is awaiting toward the back of the next chamber. She's wearing a plain black lab coat with KXG on the label. Here the grid-like order of the room breaks down, replaced by mounts of dirty brown snow that slowly merge with the icy walls. Overhead fans drive sub-zero air down into the snow. Good evening, Babylon, the Tremere says. I've thought long and hard about Prince Leto's message, and I think I have a solution. I want you to destroy me. What? What? I thought that for sure she was gonna kill me. They can be what, reborn? Nothing so melodramatic. This is politics, not metaphysics. Caul picks her way over the dirty snow. After a moment, she reaches elbow deep into it and howls out a naked woman who stares at you blankly. With her face slack instead of animated, you barely recognize NVIDIA Caul. The real Caul gets the corpse clone into a lab coat. Clone's feet are black with blood and decorated with Giselle's runes. No wonder the witch can barely stand. When the Camarilla banned most forms of electronic communication, Clan Tremere thought it could just build an occult network. But that was hacked too. That's how Giselle found me. She and I are good friends now. Yep, sure looks like it. Of course, But it was clear to me that thaumaturgy invented centuries ago was as vulnerable as any other old and unsecured communication protocol. My original plan was to use my clones as carriers, both in the normal fashion and by encoding them with information that could be read through genome analysis. Jesus Christ, this is dark. But they never quite worked, and while it seems Prince Leto disagrees with my work here anyway. You're familiar with the Second Inquisition, Babylon? Yep. I've been dodging the government agents. Might as well share what information I can. Throwing this together. Well, that's one common enemy that everybody has, so Have you tangled with the 11th? 111th? The IOO? What? IOU! Yeah, the brain. IOUs. What about the FBI branch, the Special Affairs Division? She listens. Interesting. They're all deadly, but not all hunters are like that. Some are dangerous buffoons who are in over their heads. A group like that attacked... Oh, words and lyrics, okay. A group like that attacked me the last time I left my facility. They killed most of them, but a few got away, and they're still looking for me. I would like to give myself to them. She gestures to her clone. Once everyone thinks I've been destroyed, I'll have time to transfer my research elsewhere away from Leto. We're self-funding now, I don't need him. You glance around the room. It's just you, Dr. Caul, the half-buried clones, and a few technicians on the balcony around you. I see pipes run out of a massive tank, and on the far wall, an elaborate coolant system surrounded by warning signs. Huge chains dangle from the ceiling, their purpose unclear. The doors nearby are locked. The Tremere watches you impassively. I honestly don't care if she fails to trick Leto. I just want to get out of the situation alive. But I feel like I should ask, who are these vampire hunters? 5 victims of anarch violence who have managed to destroy a few thin bloods and ghouls. Oh. Oh! When you said victims, I thought that they were actually dead. And who think that they know enough to hunt real vampires. They're dangerous chiefly because they're unpredictable and ignorant, but skilled carriers should be able to elude them. Sit back and consider your options. The Tremere is probably right about the vampire hunters aren't that dangerous unless you make a mistake. Your biggest concern is the Prince of Tuscan. Your relationship with the traditions of the Camarilla are complex and sometimes ambiguous, but Prince Leto seems to trust you. It would be a shame to lose the trust you built up, and Leto is no fool, he'll learn the truth eventually. On the other hand, eventually is not the same as now. Right now you're in the heart of Dr. Caul's territory, you know she will not take refusal well. And just so we're clear, I'm not asking you to work for free. I can pay, obviously. Will $5,000 be sufficient? And I can teach sorcery and farseeing, mastery of beasts and man. I think that's how Jasper used to phrase it. A bit dramatic, but true. Who is Jasper? Then she holds up her ring. Oh, and there's this. I stole this years ago, but I've unlocked the secrets of how it holds Vitae and began to forge an even greater version. So this could be yours if you help. Oh, yeah! I only have one Jasper in my head, and that's the wrong Jasper. All of my decisions made here are because I want Prince Leto's ass. And I'm not gonna get it. And I'm gonna continue being one desperate cookie.
I'm already regretting this. You know, the Camarilla won't let me help you!
This isn't the choice you seem to think it is, Outlander, the Tremere says, baring her teeth. The little fangs aren't frightening, but the acid that swirls around her hands, forming runes of power, that's worth worrying about. And if there's one thing you know about the secretive Tremere, it's that they don't like sharing their plans. Dr. Caul has other drivers. What happens if she goes a loose end or someone who knows too much? I genuinely don't know what to do. I want to stand by my principles. But, I just want to get out alive, honestly. I'm trapped in a room. A nice room. That has shitty entrances and exits. With almost no combat strength. With an angry Tremere. If there was like a way to save, I would go for this. Come on! Isn't that big? Isn't that big of a choice? Not tapping that finesse versus survival. Not tapping that finesse versus survival. Not tapping that finesse versus survival. You know what? If we die, we die. We die in a blaze of glory. And you can guess my answer, the sorceress says. You can see Dr. Caul trying to hold herself together. She's not a prince despite her independence and has no real authority to attack or harm you. You see her trying so hard to avoid giving into her beast. She screams and acid vitae explodes out toward you. You throw yourself to the ground and the world dissolves into noxious gas as the acid reacts explosively by hitting the snow. The technicians above you flee. Dr. Caul's eyes burn with rage, but you think she deliberately misaimed that blast. Even as she teeters on the brink of madness, she understands how much trouble destroying you will bring her. But her partial self-control might not matter. Before you can say anything, a frozen pipe explodes. The valve flies past your head and shatters a laptop, and all the lights turn red. The fans driving chill wind through the snow room suddenly cut off. Caul stumbles backward, rage turning momentarily into terror of what? Then her clones rip themselves free of the steaming ice. Oh, she had clones on ice! The retard. 20 naked frost-rimmed Caul clones swarm you on the Tremere. She lashes out with her corrosive vitae, dissolving 2, terrifying several more, and pushing your beast to the edge of madness. You can think again. Caul's up on the balcony level. You're not sure if she flew, climbed one of the dangling chains, or used the stairs. The ice clones are closing in on you, blocking you off from those stairs. The clones' teeth are noticeably bigger than the real Caul's, and many have claws or spurs of bone jutting out of their flesh. Speaking of Caul, as you try to maneuver, a jet of acid narrowly misses your head. It looks like she hasn't forgiven you. She's above the main coolant system. You might be able to destroy this whole facility if you have the technical acumen. This would please Prince Leto, especially since you can now fairly report that she tried to destroy you, though Julian would hate to lose all this research. Another jet of corrosive vitae turns nearby clone to soup. Caul is looking for a clear shot at you, and you better not give her one. We're summoning Shadow whenever we can. I'm having Shadow around. No way am I fighting without my doggo. Well, it's risky, but I think I'm smart enough to understand how the coolant system operates, and sabotage it, which will destroy the facility in minutes. I am all smarts and not much else, so... You dodge the claws of the clones, slip a little on the patch of ice, and vault over to the low railing that surrounds the coolant tank. The clones have a lot of trouble with the railing. The first wave tries to get over, but the ones coming up from behind knock them down, and their bodies are so slippery with ice that they can't work as a group to climb. So that buys you, what, 10 seconds? You grab the laptop attached to the main tank. It's open to the relevant window, and there's no password, and of course you've been looking at displays like this for several nights now. You thought about the weakness of KXG systems, and though you didn't actually expect to be overloading a coolant system, you know how to do it. A few keystrokes and you're rewarded with the most frantic sounding klaxon you ever heard. It's loud, but not as loud as Dr. Caul's furious and terrified screaming. Lights turn red and amber arrows flash around the ground, pointing in the direction of emergency exits as the coolant starts to back up into the unstipulated pipes on the walls, pipes that can't survive the buildup for that much corrosive fluid. You jump back over the railing and dodge the clones just as the first pipe bursts, spraying coolant and filling the air with noxious fumes that would kill a mortal. You run for a few steps as the clones dissolve in the exploding wave of coolant, which quickly swamps the entire lower level. Oh, this is a nightmare facility of nightmares! Ah! we can do this proper dramatic. So why does this story feel like it was written to a RuneScape soundtrack? I like the Tremere though, but this kind of experimentation's not my thing. Confuciatus melodistis. Dr. Caul screams. You duck instinctively, but you don't think that was a spell. She's just mad enough to yell out in magic talk. Cursing in Latin equals mad at you enough to yell in magic talk. Her eyes are so wild with rage you're not even sure she can work her sorcery. The facility might be doomed, but even vampires follow safety regulations. All around you, the evacuation is proceeding in an orderly manner. There's no reactor to blow up, just a whole lot of caustic material that's going to cause massive long-term damage. And since you're immune to the caustic fumes swirling up the breach, the biggest threat to your own life over the next few minutes is Dr. Caul. As the coolant roils across the lower level, there's no sign of shadow, but then your noble appears above you and some girders overhead. They whimper when they smell the fumes and retreats back the way they came before they asphyxiate. Flee! You already know how to get through the grinders overhead if you're nimble enough. You see a few other possibilities too. Corrosive fluids below are giving off so much noxious vapor that you can hide in them. There's also an elevator behind you that has an unfamiliar opening mechanism, a tablet bolted to its side, but you might be able to figure it out if you're smart enough. Always go with the smart option, because that is the only thing that my brain can do in this game. Snow room is full of cobbled together technology. Someone bolted what looks like an old touchscreen with a few toggle buttons on the side of the emergency elevator. Fortunately, it's easy to navigate the simple Norton Commander looking interface using buttons on the side of the screen. Your head open and the elevator door opens. Then you roll inside just before a jet of acid vaporizes you. You smack the regular down button until the elevator starts to move. You're clear. Are you telling me that the tablet just had like a giant button that said up and down and open? Because that sounds like it doesn't require a lot of brain to operate. I got an Achievo! Woo! It's a testament to Dr. Caul's organizational skills that the evacuation proceeds as well as it does. Flashing amber lines lead toward all the exits. You know exactly where you parked your car, and you lead Shadow toward the exit. When you pass a heap of scorched technicians, you realize that Dr. Caul has covered her facility in thaumaturgical traps. You follow the corpses, figuring that you can step wherever her traps have already gone off. After a few minutes, you get outside in the parking lot. There's your Nissan. Technicians are miling around, asking whether or not it's a drill, as security personnel shout for them to get to their cars and go to their designated emergency locations. Nonetheless, everything is remarkably organized despite the odd-colored smoke pouring out of the center of the facility until 4 ATVs and a Dodge Ram pull up. Hello, Copper Calf! Heap of scorched technicians and you follow the corpses, but great organizational. Yeah, that sounds like fantastic organizational skills, just like torching half your team. Don't mind that. The ATVs have Caul's heavies, men in face concealing helmets and heavy rifles. The Ram has internal security personnel. The Ram T-bones a minivan, smashing it to pieces. Stunned and bleeding scientists crawl out of the wreckage as one of the rangers jumps off his ATV and yells at the Ram's driver. You can barely hear the conversation as you unlock your truck and check your sword, but you know that they're here for you. Dr. Caul wants you destroyed. The wind changes, blowing the poison smoke down the parking lot. 3 of the 4 cars get out just as the yellow gate slams shut and locks. Terrified workers start to scream. You can't really tell how bad the air is, but from the way the shadow whines, it can't be good. Caul's ATV security are going to spot you in a moment. It's time to move. I like saving people, but I also like living. I feel this in my bones. You know what? I'm smart enough to hack the main gate controls. Security booth is abandoned right now and locked. The gate controls use a keypad, but they also have an override for RFID cards. The RFID card is about as secure as a post-it note that says, "Please do not bypass." You used an online guide to create a universal RFID key a while back, so you just waited in front of the gate until the light turns from red to green. You roll on through the gate opens. You drop Bunny's body off in a currently unmanned security station. That's the best you can do for now. Then you race down the dirt road as fast as you dare, but you never see any of the guards on ATVs, the ones with the big engine blocking tracking rifles. Quadcopter drone circles your position once, but your lights aren't on, so they doesn't spot you. In just a few minutes, you're completely clear. You turn back on the paved road, then pick it up to 70 so you can get under cover before the sun rises. You learned some interesting things about Dr. Caul's facility, and even though you sort of blew it up, Julian might want to learn what you have to know. His drop box isn't far, but you suspect that whatever Julian gets up to with Dr. Caul's research may draw both Cameron and Messiah's attention. I'm keeping the research. I'm not sharing it with Julian. I might share it with Leto. That might be a bad idea. It might be a bad idea to share this with absolutely anybody, but hey, if somebody figured out how to clone vampires, then more people can figure out how to clone vampires. Might be able to use what you learned to fuel your own studies, but you're not sharing with Julian. Or at least you're not going to risk getting spotted sharing with Julian. A few nights later, Prince Leto sends a cordial handwritten invitation to meet him at the Viper. While looking down through the floor-to-ceiling glass window at the frenzied dance floor, Eagle Prince criticizes your handling of the facility's destruction. He wishes Caul hadn't escaped. She may make trouble for the camera in the future. You doubt that, but you're not going to argue with the prince, and he seems pleased on balance with KXG's destruction. More importantly, you delivered the message in the parcel. That's more money to stuff under your mattress. You turn to your apartment, parked in the sun. The day you dream of sand. Oh, I have not even thought about that. That's smart. That's... Catch an elder. Clone him. You can safely raise your power level without consuming any souls or killing vampires. The day you dream of sand. Smoke rises for the twin wrecks, the station that stain the dunes. Your albatross was merely a functional machine, adequate if unloved. But the prototype's staggering spat your rival flew was a thing of beauty. You have seen many wars, but never one so unlovely as this one. Your shattered legs are still healing, better than burning, you tell yourself. Then sand slides down another dune. And the other pilot, his goggles and cap are gone so that his shutty blonde hair gleams in the moonlight. He sees you, draws a pistol, then pulls it away. You should be dead, you say. You try Arabic and French. I fell from horses when I was alive, he answers. And now I fall from planes. They both hurt about as much. The nearest village is 30 miles to the north. Shall we walk together? As you walk, you consider what this means. April 1917. The war is like all wars, and like all peace, the strong prey on the weak. They call it nature, and that inevitability, or the will of God, or they do not bother to justify it all. But every night they feed. You know your own strength, and you know you must use it for something other than satisfying your basest needs. What? Okay, so we're getting to protect the weak. But we're also going to respect traditions and seek luxury and comfort. You know what? Let's embrace the directions that we're leading to. So yeah, the strong must protect the weak. I dedicate myself to this principle and to guarding the most vulnerable from the depredations of monsters. Which kind of means that the next time when I get in like a really bad situation and there's people that I could save, I probably should not avoid saving them unless I want to be very upset about that. Sun sets, you awaken burning with new conviction. The strong must protect the weak. Even as they shake off Ayla's memories, you remember her strange compassion. It was not a human compassion, more like a god's, but it was clear and hard. You will act with mercy towards Cainites and mortals alike. This is a harder path than cruelty, but it is the only way for you. Where tonight? Tomorrow I'll be gone! Gone tomorrow! Okay. Maybe I shouldn't do that. Inventory! What do we have? Well, $3,700. I do want a better car. Well, before we do that, what can I do to avoid attention? That seems like a smart one. The fact that everyone in the world doesn't know about vampires tells you that even fairly significant breaches of the Masquerade can be absorbed without affecting the world too much. Over long enough timeline, people forget and people die, but in the short term, you can't just hide, you need to act. More accurately, you need to spread disinformation that hides your identity and your movements. Hunters that are already alerted to your existence need to be redirected and misdirected. In short, you need to waste their time and frustrate them so that they seek out higher priority targets. And with the Second Inquisition watching the internet, you're going to have to go analog. You need to get in touch with local news services and use them to spread disinformation. Where tonight? Yeah, you know what? Let's spread some misinformation just to make sure that we don't explode. Your initial inquiries go well, since the local Camarilla has a lock on Caul, local TV news, and extensive control over what's left of the local print news. You end up in the parking lot outside a fundraising gala, talking to one of the old Prince of Tuscan's children, and she recommends radio news. While Melponine Chen, or of Mel at Midnight, considers herself a crusading investigative journalist, the other local gossip news fixture, Harry the Gila Monster Jimenez, will spout any old nonsense for a modest consideration as long as the news article incorporates a lot of H and silence G's and J's. That's his G gimmick. The local Camarilla seems to like you right now, so the blue blood even goes out of her way to smooth your introduction to Gila Monster. That's real help, but your own talent for deception and misdirection is limited, so you estimate that their investments necessary to plan their false stories will run you around $700 if you act tonight. Yeah, I'm just... Do I know what my alert level is? That being relationships. Oh, Second Inquisition hostility moderate. Yep, we're definitely throwing them off. Set up a meeting with the Gila Monster at Burger King and explain your needs. The misdirections you're spreading are fairly interesting, so he doesn't ask too many questions, though of course he wants to get paid. You slide him a manila envelope that contains both the $700 and the lies you want to tell him to spread. He counts it on the table and says, "I'm your man, see you at the airwaves." Okay. Better car. Yes. Meeting a powerful vampire at Burger King. Not that different from friggin' the Sombra from the previous game that kept on just sitting at the fast food joint for fun. How much money do I have left? 2,300. Maybe we can spend 2,000 on a car. I really want the better. I want to be prepared. Lesser Bond of Santa Fe Studios. Santa Fe recently published his findings on the so-called desert Stonehenge found in the California desert in the 1970s. Online debunking service Cahoots claims that Lester Bond is in the archon of the 18th grade controlled by the New World Order. He's here with me now. Okay, Bell at Midnight is talking about... What? About friggin' Stonehenges? Okay. Well, let's start from... I don't know, Acura Integra? Durability 2. I think our current durability is 3. Yeah, current durability of our car is 3. What about Toyota Tacoma? Durability 3, speed is better than what we currently have. Stats! Yep. That car's better than what we have. What about Saab Turbo? Okay, that one's leaning more on speed and less on durability. And what about Mazda? That one's leading most on maneuverability. It's more expensive than we can afford. I'll take Tacoma. It's a tiny upgrade. But it's as durable as my current car, which is important for me. But it's faster. The vehicle is not damaged. So that's good. Okay, we have leaned so heavily into intelligence that I think that we should exercise at a gym a bit. Drive is actually cheap. Whoop whoop. Survival is also kind of cheap. We fitness. Can I unlock at least some secrets of the blood? Okay. What can Obfuscate do for me? What do Celerity do? I know what the abilities do. Kind of funny to ask what is Potence. How does Presence work? Okay, mastering protein is great. But I don't have the experience points for that anymore. I'm gonna take a level in fortitude. Let's see, oh, I'm really hungry. Let us go and feed. Okay, so you head to the Viper to make sure you don't commit any fox pass while hunting in Tuscan. Then you meet Alexander Leto's favorite retainer, which explains the situation. After the destruction of the last prince and before Leto's consolidation of power, hunting in Tuscan was a dog-eat-dog business, with frequent and costly breaches to the Masquerade. Leto put an end to that. First, there's no hunting anywhere near the Viper, the local Elysium. Second, the more you prove in yourself, the more risks you're allowed to take while hunting. You have not proven yourself, Alexander explains. That being the case, you're limited to the kiddie pool. He's very proud of himself for knowing that term. In exchange for small consideration each time, Alexander will provide you with access to blood dolls, cusps of fresh blood, or caged animals, your preference. Yeah, okay, that's a fair system. Yes, Alexander says, I believe a young Asimite recommended a few years back when the clan first started to buddy up with the Camarilla. He has an app. We don't use many apps anymore, but I handle the numbers on the ledger. And I remember that this is only for our junior members. Dove and the other senior members of the court hunt freely and joyfully, but we lowly servants, our lot is not to be joyful, is it? Anyway, enough philosophy, let us turn to the issue of remuneration. Since we cannot provide the service for free, after a brief negotiation, the ferocious but not uncivilized, you and Alexander agreed to a payment of $150 per drink of blood. If you want to reduce that price, you have to improve your standing with the Camarilla. I'm pretty good in standing with the Camarilla. The goal opens a ledger. My only question is, do you prefer the blood dolls, the live prey, or stored blood? I know you prefer live prey, but more and more kindred these knights are squeamish about what they are. I like prey, but I like animals, to be fair. I'm afraid no excitement for you, just pale little blood dolls, but they're clean and not enslaved, I guarantee you that much. What's tonight? Blood! Tonight is definitely blood! Alexander provides you with a homeless man who has discovered that people with a vampire kink pay better than plasma donation centers. I wonder why. Well, that dropped my hunger all the way down, which is friggin' amazing, and I actually gained a humanity, which I think I did from convictions. I did not realize that you can gain humanity. Anyways, our wealth is now dreadfully low. So we are gonna stop here, and when we come back, we're gonna be engaging in the last mission that we're gonna perform. I am so impressed that we're still live. Yeah, yes, that was more excitement than my little heart can handle, especially when it's a stat-based game. When it's purely a stat-based game, because then you're like, oh, dearie me, I can't save my way through this. But anyways, thank you for watching, and hopefully I'm gonna see you the next time. Toodaloo.